Casey Neistat is one of the most influential YouTubers of all time. In an industry where creativity shines, Casey was one of the few pioneers of a new video format, now known as vlogging. His knack for storytelling and building a connection with his audience is most aptly demonstrated by his 12.6 million subscribers and over 3.2 billion video views. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because Casey's life wasn't always this way. You'll soon learn that there's much more to the person behind the camera and the journey that led to his determined success on the platform. What makes Casey's story stand out is not his overwhelming success or his incredibly witty video ideas. No, it's the adversities that he faced and his sheer perseverance to reap the fruits of his labor. So sit back and relax as we uncover the details of one of YouTube's founding fathers, Casey Neistat. Let's rewind the clock and go back to the very beginning. Casey was born in 1981 and grew up with his three older siblings, his brothers Dean and Van and his sister Jordan, in a lower middle-class area of Connecticut. He has admitted to being a troublemaker as a kid, which only escalated during his teenage years. When his parents divorced in his sophomore year of high school, Casey blamed his mom, leading to a major argument one night. At just 15 years of age, he decided to leave home, departing on a random Tuesday night at 9 p.m. After a brief stay with his friends, Casey moved in with two older girls. One became his girlfriend and they moved to Virginia, staying with his brother Van for 3 months. Casey's girlfriend became pregnant during this time, prompting their return to Connecticut, where he dropped out of high school. They lived in his girlfriend's friend's basement, and Casey worked at a seafood restaurant washing dishes for $8 an hour. Shortly after, Casey turned 17. His son Owen was born in April. However, they were broke. Because of this, they moved to a trailer park and relied on welfare for a while. When Owen was about a year and a half old, they visited New York City and stayed at his brother Van's apartment in Brooklyn. Van had just acquired an iMac, though it wasn't like the nifty, chic models you see today. No, it was a distinctive blue iMac G3 and was released in 1998. It also happened to be the first iMac suitable for video editing. They ended up shooting a short movie of Owen at the zoo, a project Casey loved. It marked the first time he felt he had found his voice through storytelling. Casey spent all his spare moments capturing videos of Owen. However, soon after, his girlfriend broke up with him for various reasons, though Casey found a silver lining. He had always dreamed of moving to New York City within about 5 years, but given the new circumstances, Casey took the leap and made the move in June 2001, at just 20 years of age. Despite being where he needed to be, Casey describes this as one of the toughest times in his life. He knew no one and lacked a clear plan. That first summer in New York, he worked as a bike messenger until he landed a manual labor job for about $10 an hour. Each week, Casey set aside $100 for travel so he could visit his son Owen. When his 3-month sublet ended, he moved to a friend's couch in downtown Manhattan, where he stayed there for a month. Casey then moved into his new place on the 2nd of September 2001. Shortly after, we all know what happens in New York. The impact from the first plane instantly woke Casey up, and by the time the second blast hit, he was already on his bike trying to get away. Later that morning, his dad called him and told him it's time to come home. In Casey's mind, he thought, could it really even get harder than this? If he could figure out a way to push through this part of his life, he just knew it just would get better. He committed everything to becoming a filmmaker, and this is exactly when things started to turn around. After the incident, a friend of a friend moved out of New York City, and Casey took over his incredibly cheap apartment lease. Shortly after, he and his brother Vance started making movies together, and they worked for anyone that would hire them, as long as it involved them picking up a camera. They were hungry. They literally said yes to everything. And just like a spark to a flame, the first video that got them any recognition was one they made together. It was a film titled iPod's Dirty Secret, a video Casey made out of frustration. The video's scope was to expose the iPod's faulty battery and an even more flawed refund policy back in 2003, before most social media was even a thing. Despite the limited opportunity for exposure compared to now, their video was viewed 6 million times in just the first month of its release. This was a pivotal moment in Casey's career. All of a sudden, more and more people started asking questions about what other movies the Neistat brothers had made. Things were starting to look up. Casey now had a little bit of money, and he was able to start taking trips with his son Owen. A few years later, in 2006, they met a guy named Tom Scott, who ran a group of local TV channels. Tom offered to fund them for a year to document and tell their stories from their lives. The result was 8 25-minute episodes, basically their own TV series, and this would lead to their first proper big break in about 2008. They sold the 8-episode TV show to HBO for just under $2 million, and the show premiered in 2010. This was the Neistat Brothers. It was like a YouTube vlog series, but 5 years before anyone was familiar with what that was. Regardless of how engaging the show actually turned out to be, the concept was still a little too premature with audiences, which set alarm bells off at HBO. This meant that they didn't end up getting renewed for a second season. Afterward, Van relocated to LA to pursue his art career, while Casey remained in New York dedicated to filmmaking. It wasn't just the two of them anymore, but as the saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. On the 15th of February 2010, the Casey Neistat channel debuted on YouTube. He quickly shifted his entire focus to the platform, and a year later, he hit his first viral video, a video named Bike Lanes by Casey Neistat. Casey soon came up with a formula for making his films go viral, aiming to replicate it as much as possible. Over the following years, he gradually unraveled the secret of virality. He started 2012 with around 8,000 subscribers and 6 million total views. Casey experienced exponential growth as he refined his approach. By year's end, his channel boasted over 25 million views and 55,000 subscribers, propelled by another hit, Make It Count. His videos not only hit their stride, but also showcased improved editing and storytelling that diverged from the YouTube norm. Casey's focus on storytelling and the diversity of his content continued to attract a growing audience. By 2013, his subscribers surged from 55,000 to over 200,000, and in 2014, he more than doubled his following from 200,000 to 460,000. Fans loved his videos, eagerly craving more. His audience wanted him to upload almost every day, but back then, he only posted a few times a month. After watching his videos, it's clear why. They took a lot of time and effort to make. However, Casey saw this as an opportunity. With the growth his channel had seen over the past few years, he knew that there was too much potential to pass up on. So on March 26, 2015, he uploaded his first daily vlog.
Today is March 25th, 2015. It's also my 34th birthday, and I have a big announcement to make. Yes, I'm starting a proper daily vlog. I'm psyched. So this is the first vlog entry.
This turned out to be one of the best decisions he'd ever make. Casey's videos went from averaging 1 to 200,000 views per video to over 500,000. And because he was posting every day, his subscriber count quickly reflected this. At the start of 2015, he had around 500,000 subscribers, but by the end of the year, he had passed 1.7 million without missing a single day of uploads. The even crazier part was this was without any help, and this was also by choice, because Casey wanted to do it all by himself. The question was, how long could he keep this up? Posting every day was already impressive enough on YouTube, but maintaining that quality, there was no way it could be sustainable, especially with everything Casey had going on in his life. In the last few years, he had had a kid, started a business, and even got married. This is Casey's wife, Candice. Their relationship was 8 years in the making. After their very first date, it took them only a month before they got married. That is, until her parents made them get it annulled, which was probably for the best. Though, over the next decade, they had plenty of highs and lows. But despite everything, they eventually made it work. In 2013, on December 30th, they got married. This time, for real. Nonetheless, this still didn't answer the crucial question. Between knowing how long the videos take to make, how much Casey was traveling, and also having a family to take care of, how long could he realistically keep this up? Well, to at least try to keep it up, he needed a routine, and it looked a little like this. Firstly, wake up at 6 a.m. This gave him a few of the most productive hours in the day. He finished editing his vlog from the night before and uploaded it to YouTube at 8 a.m. sharp. He did this so consistently that tweets would start rolling in if he was even a minute late. After this, he went for a run of about 10 miles. Yep, Casey would run an average of 70 to 80 miles per week. To most people, this sounds horrible, but for him, it was essential. During the run, he planned the vlog he'd film for the day, and by the time he was back, it was around 10 a.m. After showering, he headed to work. From this point up until about 7 p.m., it was just work on his new business, filming the vlog, anything to do with work. From 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., it was family time until his baby fell asleep. Then, Casey started editing the video he'd upload for 8 a.m. the next day. This editing sesh lasted from 10 p.m. to about 1 a.m. until, he'd hit the hay and repeat the process the very next day. Because of this dedication, 2016 became his best year yet. One key to Casey's success was how he could make anything entertaining with his unique editing style. Whether he was snowboarding through New York City or just talking about his favorite new gadget, his videos were never boring. It was clear that Casey was doing exactly what he wanted. Casey knew what it took to be successful and respected the opportunity in front of him. Only 6 months into the year, his channel grew to over 3.5 million subscribers. He had also uploaded over 460 videos in a row without missing a single day. But what about his startup business? Well, in 2015, Casey and his business partner Matt Hackett started Beme. And in November, after ending the vlog, they sold Beme to CNN for $25 million. Beme was a social media app that tried to help teens discover themselves. Unfortunately though, Snapchat was doing it better at the time. The vlog gave Beme a huge boost at launch, but it didn't achieve the needed longevity. So why would CNN buy a failing app? Well, they were interested in Casey and his channel, knowing it would bring immediate exposure. And you ask, what did become of Beme? Well, they transformed it into a new YouTube show, gaining over 300,000 subscribers and 33 million views, posting over 180 videos. It wasn't bad, but it didn't meet CNN's potential expectations, so they shut it down in early 2018. Casey and Matt moved on, and the tech side of Beme still continues at CNN today. Casey, though, kept uploading through 2018, documenting his life and new ventures. Towards the end, he reached another goal. He hit 10 million subscribers, a milestone most channels only dream of. And a few months later, he and Candice welcomed a new baby, and with it came a new focus. He also realized that they needed to move out of New York City. So this was it, the last daily vlog. After nearly half his life in the city, it was time to leave, to say goodbye, to the place where he turned his hobby into a career and met his future wife. Casey was closing this chapter, but there's still a question. How long did Casey really upload for? Even with a few breaks over a span of about 3 years, he'd upload more than 800 episodes. That is crazy. As a creator, he's amassed over 3.2 billion views and 12.6 million subscribers. But this didn't mean he's done with YouTube. He still sporadically posts from time to time, but his focus right now is mainly on his family and creating more meaningful YouTube videos. So that's pretty much it. That is the story of Casey Neistat, at least his YouTube story. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for similar content. Who would you like to see next? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay quixotic.